So many shelters and animal rescues out there are doing their best to find homes for the dogs that are currently in their care, and when possible, keep pets with their people even in difficult times. I'd like to share with you some standout examples of people going above and beyond for animals in their care. If you work in the space, take notes. These are the best things that animal rescues are doing right now. You may notice that the format is a little bit different. That's because I am currently in Scotland and this episode is pre-recorded. However, that does not change the fact that we have another adoptable special guest. Please welcome Sloane. Hi, Sloane. Hello. Hi. How's it going? This is our set. You are gorgeous. Oh, okay. Where are you going? Oh, there is water over there. You are the most energetic puppy we've ever had. Where are you going? I'll start trying to tell you things about Sloane. Sloane is 7 months old. She's a pit bull from Angel City Pit Bulls. Isn't that right? She's gonna just explode. Those are my shoes. Hey, Sloane. Hi, I have this toy. I don't know what it is, but you can have it if you want. There you go. Oh. Okay, you can't just take it and run away. You gotta play. She just took that. She thought about just hopping on the couch and calling it. Hi. Oh, thank you. Oh, my goodness. So like I said, Sloane is 7 months old from Angel City Pit Bulls. Her story: in September of 2024, the South LA shelter contacted Angel City Pit Bulls when a community member brought in 11 3-week-old puppies found out in the heat. The shelter helped cool the puppies down, and then Angel City Pit Bulls took them in and named them after London tube stations. So she's named after Sloane Square. I do have a puppy pic. So yes, of course, I found a puppy photo. Sloane's attributes, oh my goodness, you are precious. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to, oh, we went full sploot immediately. You guys are gonna have to act quick on Sloane. I can kind of feel it. Her attributes from Angel City Pit Bulls include, she is a social butterfly. Yeah, I believe it. She's a snuggle bug, smarty pants. I've never seen that attribute. So yeah, highly intelligent here, Sloane. Energy level is flexible/medium. We have yet to see that. She seems a little high energy, which I love. She's friendly with most large dogs, and she's had positive experiences with kids. Is that true? Angel City Pit Bull says an ideal adoptive home for her might be one where she has regular access to the outdoors when her family is home, and she could go to a home with kids and other dogs. We're also willing to consider out of LA, out of state adopters if it's the right match. So that's a lot of you. That's everybody. Everybody viewing this has an opportunity to take Sloane home. Her adoption fee is covered for the 7th episode in a row. The special guest adoption fee is covered. It is covered by Kay. She would like to donate in memory of her dog, Bruno. So this is Bruno. She calls him an absolute nightmare, but in parentheses, she put affectionate. So these are all terms of endearment. He's an absolute nightmare that she adopted in 2016. Oh my goodness. One moment. What are you doing? This is incredible. Bruno unfortunately suddenly passed after Christmas in 2024. Kay benefited greatly from a reduced adoption fee when she adopted Bruno, and she wanted to pass on the love. So Kay, thank you very much. More on Bruno. He was a serial killer of backyard wildlife, fearful of all things, and loved to scream at every blade of grass. He was perfect. Thank you so much, Bruno and Kay, for covering Sloane's adoption fee. Sloane's like, oh my goodness, what are we clapping about? Sloane will be with me in and out of this very special episode, slightly different format. We're going to interview a bunch of people who are doing great things in the animal rescue world. Excited. Oh, and she's back. And she's gone. Sloane, come on, hang out with me. You are precious. You are so precious. Oh, okay. This is just, I just try not to react. Oh, you actually can rip this toy. I have no emotional connection to this toy. So our first rescue that is going above and beyond for the animals in their care is Lost Dog and Cat Rescue in Arlington, Virginia. Now, back in September of 2018, this rescue took in dogs evacuated from coastal areas due to Hurricane Florence. We were made aware of that as We Rate Dogs, and we were able to direct people to their Amazon wish list. And we accidentally overflowed their building with Amazon packages, floor to ceiling, with dog supplies ahead of taking on all of those new dogs. And then the next year when I was in the area, I actually got to stop by. And they immediately told me about their Dogventure program. And I was like, what is this? I got to go on a Dogventure with a dog named Aiden, okay? I took Aiden to all of the monuments in DC. We made him touch the top of the Washington Monument. Is that if I'm gonna be really embarrassed if it's not? It's at the Washington Monument. Yes. Okay.
It is the Washington Monument.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jessie. You don't know Jessie. I haven't introduced her yet, but she did help me with that. And it was just such a wonderful experience to be able to go on a little adventure with a dog who I just met, and not only help socialize them, but gave me a lot of joy. It turns out that Aiden was adopted 5 days after I went on a dog venture with him, and I was very happy for that family and grateful that I got to play a role in Aiden's life. With me today is Jessie Prusick. She's the volunteer dog venture team lead for the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue. Jessie, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about the dog venture program at Lost Dog Rescue. I mean, there's so many dogs in need in Virginia and across the nation. So whatever we can do to help improve their lives, I'm happy to share.
Amazing. What inspired the Dog Venture program?
Yeah, so it started in 2018, around the time you were there. A few volunteers were lucky enough to attend a training course from Maddie's University on the benefits of short-term field trips, and immediately we were like, we have to implement this, and expected only a few volunteers to show up the first day we started it, but it ended up having a huge turnout, and so we immediately saw how beneficial it could be in the community, and the program has really only ever grown since then.
Jessie, sorry, I'll interrupt you to say that is Sloane. She's our Adoptable special guest for this episode. So she will be in and out. You may see her, but if you also hear her, that's who that is. Please continue.
I was just saying the program has grown ever since then. And this past year, we actually had almost 2,000 dog ventures. And
oh my goodness.
That was for about 400 different dogs. So some of our longer term dogs getting out multiple times. So really it is so beneficial for all of the dogs in our care.
That's incredible. Now, here's Sloane, by the way.
He came to visit. Oh no. Okay,
we'll make sure she doesn't trip over anything. All right, cool. So, and how does it work? Could you give me a brief rundown of if I were someone that walks into Lost Dog and Cat Rescue, how would I go about checking a dog out for a dog venture?
Absolutely. So we try to make it as easy as possible for volunteers. Everything is listed on our website, lostdogrescue.org, on our Dog Ventures page, but you sign up, you attend a short in-person orientation, and then we really use, tools that are existing out there that any rescue could use, Google Forms, Google Sheets, to kind of manage the process. They can submit a request whenever they want, and we just match them with the dog, and they can take that dog out the next day. We try to provide all the supplies that they would need to really make it as barrier-free as possible for maybe volunteers that don't have dogs at home and don't have the supplies they would need. So we're really lucky to have a lot of donors and volunteers that supply a lot of those supplies. We have a great sponsorship with Lindsay Cars that has provided us some awesome gear that we provide to our dog venturers. So if they're taking a dog home for the day, they need those supplies, or if they're taking a dog out on a hike. I mean, you can do anything on a dog venture, and that's why it benefits so many different dogs.
That's incredible. What is the typical duration of a dog venture? Like, how long could I take a dog out? How short of a time span could I take a dog out?
Yeah, so that's another benefits of it, is it can really be for as short as you want. And we try to keep it, up to a couple days. So if people want to take a dog out over the weekend, but that's what kind of differentiates it from the foster program, is that it's really these shorter term opportunities for volunteers that might not be able to make the commitment of fostering or being there every day, but can every so often take a dog venture, or maybe they're afraid to foster, and this kind of eases them into the process. And it can really be for any amount of time.
That's incredible. And you gave some numbers earlier, but I mean, why do you think this program works so well? I know I mentioned that it felt like with Aiden, there was that socialization benefit. And honestly, if I was in the market for a dog, what a wonderful, test drive.
Absolutely. I think it's wonderful for so many different reasons. I mean, it gets dogs out there and visible in the community in different areas where people maybe they're on a hike and they're like, oh, I could be hiking with this dog, or, at the monuments. It gets them into homes, so you can get more information on them that we wouldn't get in a kennel environment. So how they do in a house, how they do maybe with children or with cats, or all of these other experiences that gives us that feedback that can help them match with a potential foster or adopter.
That's fantastic. Do you have a sense of how many other rescues or organizations leverage a similar program?
I am not entirely sure how many other rescues do it, but I would say if you're not doing it, do it. It's so beneficial for our dogs. It really expands your volunteer base into so many different volunteers in the community. And then it kind of trickles into this volunteer might just get started with a dog venture. That's how I got started, doing one dog venture. And then here I am, leading the team years later. So I definitely think if rescues aren't doing it, they should. And we're more than happy to help provide any support. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to us on our website, and we can provide those lessons learned and our process.
Do you have the same people come by and want to just check out the same dog, or do they typically try to check out a different dog? Like your routine dog venture people, what's their MO?
It is extremely variable. I mean, we definitely have people that want to take out the same dog all the time because they love that dog. And then we have people that are open to giving multiple dogs a chance. So I think it's wonderful that it can really vary like that. And like I mentioned, it's great for all different types of activities that you want to do. So if you're looking for a dog for on your work from home day, then you just want a dog that's low energy and can kind of snuggle on the couch with you or recover from a spay and neuter surgery. Or if you want a dog because you're planning on going on a 10-mile hike, that you want a more energetic dog. So you can kind of match your dog to the activity you're planning on doing as well, which is a great benefit of the program.
That's incredible. Do you have any favorite stories of dog ventures, something crazy that somebody took a dog on? Like, are there any notable dog ventures that stand out to
you? There are so many notable dog ventures. I mean, my very first dog venture, I adopted my dog.
Oh, really? Like checked him out and then adopted?
Yes, it started as a dog venture that was just meant to be a hike and a day out for my dog, and then she got along really well with my previous dog that I owned, and what turned from a dog venture to a foster to she's now with me forever.
That's fantastic. What a great start.
Yes. We also have a dog right now, actually, Yuki. She's an adoptable dog. She's been with us since September, and she had puppies, and all of her puppies have been adopted out and gone into homes.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, she's still waiting for her forever home, but in the meantime, she gets to do all of these dog ventures with volunteers, and she's a particularly like high energy dog. She loves her person. She loves, someone that would maybe work from home all the time. So for her, adoption events aren't necessarily the best way to showcase her because she wants to run around. She loves other dogs, so she tries to play with the other dogs. But going out on dog ventures is an awesome opportunity for her because she can meet potential volunteers that have the characteristics that she needs. So lots of opportunities, good stories for dog ventures, but those are just some.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jessie. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about the Dog Venture program?
I think the Dog Venture program is the best thing you can do for your dogs. I mean, while they're in your care, getting them out, just like humans need a vacation or an adventure, so do dogs. We get cabin fever if we're home alone for too long. So giving dogs an experience outside of the shelter in so many different ways, and making it easy for volunteers to sign up, volunteers that might not be involved with the organization otherwise. Like I said, I mean, our stats speak for themselves. So many people want to be a part of this program, and we're just lucky that we're able to do it.
Sloane just peed off camera. So not to interrupt you.
Excited about the Dog Venture program.
Exactly.
Too.
No, she's very thrilled. Thank you so much, Jessie, for talking about it. And again, I can't overstate how impactful it was to just take a dog out for a couple hours. It really blew my mind, and I wanted to tell all of my other rescue contacts in that moment what a wonderful program it is. And I'm sure in the last 5 years it's just gotten even better. So thank you so much, Jessie. You're certainly...
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Yeah, Lost Dog and Cat Rescue, certainly an organization out there that's going above and beyond for their animals.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have the San Diego Humane Society. They spent 2 years renovating their adoption center and transformed it into an environment that allows their pets to thrive. The coolest part, in my opinion, of this new facility, and I assume to anybody who steps inside, is the angled habitats that are also soundproof. With me today is Executive Vice President for the San Diego Humane Society, Brian Dougherty. Brian, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Of course. What inspired such a thoughtful design to your clinic?
What inspired the design was really our desire to make a better shelter, to do better for animals, to do better for our guests, to do better for our staff. That's what really inspired it. Then there was a lot of hard work that went into building that, of working with our fantastic architects at Core Architecture Group to talk through what we were trying to do. And so thinking through that inspiration, it really comes down to what's the biggest challenge in a shelter? It's stress on the animals. So what are the steps that we can employ that's going to reduce the stress for those animals? And we set about doing that. And that design that you talk about that struck you and certainly strikes other people is called a sawtooth design. And it is 100% designed around an animal shelter environment to create one where the animals basically don't see each other. So they don't have reactions. They can be more relaxed in their environments. We also worked, so in taking the actual, what they see visually was one thing, and there are about 100 different things that go into that. The lower half of their enclosures are also blocked off so they can't see that. You see people who can look in, but they don't see other animals. They have exits out the back that they don't have to interact and see other animals. All of it was truly designed so that they could be as relaxed as they possibly can be when they're surrounded by, 58 other dogs and the mayhem that takes place in a shelter. But we went far beyond that. And we have everything from pheromone treatments that come into the shelters to soothing music that plays. Every element of that shelter was thoughtfully designed. We brought in solar tubes to bring in natural light so that they could actually have natural lighting in their shelter. And what it resulted in, and you actually touched on it as well, the soundproofing aspect. What I can tell you is it is not 100% soundproof. If you have a dog that's coming unglued, which can happen in a shelter, you'll hear it. But generally speaking, yeah, the kennels are soundproofed. And come, I invite the public, anybody, please come see our shelter. And I think you'll be amazed at what it looks and feels like compared to what most people think a shelter looks like. So that's what sparked this for us. And, it was also a desire to be a part of the evolution of animal welfare and animal sheltering, to create an environment that others could learn from and hopefully to build on and to continue to improve. There's no question that we missed some things that other shelters can do better. We just want to be a part of the national process of advancing animal welfare.
That's incredible. All of those things are so impactful. And I keep laughing when I think about it, that entire video that showcased those habitats, the dogs are just passed out asleep. And that is, again, not your typical shelter experience. I guess not really a loaded question, but just because you mentioned a whole bunch of stuff, but why do these things work so well? We can start with the angled habitats and the soundproofing, basically the habitats that the dogs are in. Why does that structure seem to work so well?
I think it works so well because what it does, it accomplished what it was meant to do, which was reduce the stress level of the dogs in the shelter. And, the video that you've seen and millions of other people have seen is on TikTok, Instagram, and the like. It's literally had millions of views. And in the wonderful world of social media, which can, maybe have a bit of negativity to it, seeing the comments, the thousands and thousands of comments that were on that post that were universally positive was really an amazing thing. So what makes it work, I think, is truly the combination of factors that we put in play. It's not just one of those elements, it's all of them. And then when you add on top of that, there is another component of it that I didn't touch on, which is actually the level of animal care and enrichment that the animals get in their habitats and environments. Because you can take any animal and put it in a shelter environment. It's a foreign environment, it's a stressful environment, it's a place they don't know. And I'm going to argue that we're one of the best shelters in the world, but we're still an animal shelter. It's not like the dogs behind me laying on my couch or the dog that you have, roaming around your studio. They have a lot of things to react to. What we did was just try and systematically reduce those as much as we could. And what we've seen is a really incredible benefit of that. You can walk through the shelter at virtually any time, and it will not sound like the typical shelter that you just referenced. And I think it's a pretty incredible sight to behold, and I get to see it all the time, and it never makes me not smile. It's almost impossible to walk through it and see dogs relaxed, feeling comfortable. So they've got the enrichment. We have our animal care team that are ensuring that they're walked so that their exercise and their sniffing senses and other things are all activated for them through the day. All of those elements go to making it a really extraordinary and successful endeavor.
That's great. I imagine anybody who is there to visit a dog or to inquire about adoption, not only blown away by what you mentioned, but the dogs that they're then able to visit with and interact with are just much more ready for that type of interaction, and they get to see them closer to the environment that they would be at home instead of, a typical stressed environment.
That's fantastic. If you keep asking me questions, I'll actually get around to saying all the stuff I'd like to say about it. Because, one of the other reasons for this, there's a term called length of stay that's utilized in shelter environments. It's how long the animal is in the shelter before it gets adopted. And it's an incredibly important number and statistic for us. And creating an environment like this was designed to reduce the length of stay for the animals, because you can see an animal that you can envision coming into your home instead of an animal that's really reactive at the front of a shelter, that's barking, that's pacing, or one that's cowering in the back of a shelter. Those animals are really hard to adopt out. So the shelter environment that we have expedites them getting adopted, allows families to see them in much more of what we hope they're going to look like in the home setting, which is very different. And I'll even add another thing that I missed on, which is there's a piece of the sheltering part of each habitat where any animals that are in fact shy can go behind a wall and tuck away from basically public view. And so you still have a fantastic interactive screen outside of that. You can see a picture of the animal, you can see sometimes videos, get a description of them. But if the animal is really stressed and having a hard time with having people come by and look at it, they can in fact find a safe place to retreat to. I was giving a tour of our shelter last week, and there was an animal that was just tucked in behind with just its little eyeball out. And it was really great to see that as well, of knowing that that animal was much more comfortable in that environment than they would be virtually anywhere else.
Fantastic. It's all fantastic. And yeah, I'm just blown away. If I'm part of a shelter or a rescue and I'm inspired by this and I want to lessen that duration of stay, what is my first step in copying these things from you?
I would say to me, the first step is one, just awareness that it exists. We can only see what we know and what we can see. So we're trying to ensure that other shelters in the animal welfare community know about our design, know about how we created it, again, why we created it, all of the things that we're talking about here. So they can determine, does that sound like something that we want to do? And if so, the real challenge comes down to this. And I have a saying in life that basically you can have anything you want if you have ample supplies of time and money. And most shelters are short of certainly the money part. The time part is a little bit of a different issue. So what I would contend is the way that you need to get that is to be able to engage your community about supporting animals, which we need. And thank you, by the way, for everything that you do in this space to create awareness about shelters, about adopting animals and bringing light and energy to that conversation, because we need much, much more of it. But I think the issue really isn't shelters having a vision and knowing, hey, I want to build a better shelter. I'd love to have that. It's a question of, do we have the resources to be able to make it happen? And I would contend that all shelters are under-resourced, and most shelters are underfunded in terms of the investment they're making on their teams to engage their communities, to philanthropically support their work. So that's where kind of the rub comes in my mind, is just, here's a vision of it. Now, how are we going to get there? And it's going to come down to resources at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, the clip that I'm alluding to that I saw that initially made me want to talk to you is a great example of how your team has gotten that word out. And every time you show off a dog that is available for adoption and you zoom out ever so slightly and somebody's like, wait, that's a unique design, you're doing that. So I would continue to do that. And it goes to show also that you kind of get out what you put into your social team as well. And I know that that's another under-resourced part of a lot of shelters, but another example of how it helped you all and in turn could help many other rescues and shelters. Brian, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about any of the specifics that you touched on that occurs at the San Diego Humane Society?
Well, I mean, I'd say, how long do we have? There's a lot that I could share with you. I mean, I think we've talked about the basic shelter environment. I think one of the things that's so important with what's happening in animal welfare right now is really talking about the situation that we have, particularly with dogs. And we've got a lot of dogs in our shelter that I'm positive you would rate at least at a 4. And, maybe would even break the scale for you. And they can sit in our shelter for a really, really long time. And what we're really trying to do is to educate so many folks who are looking to add, a new animal family member to their home to please, please, please consider adopting a shelter. I can give you another example of a dog that we had named Chapel, after, a little singer who's had success lately. And she was we have 4 different campuses at San Diego Humane Society. Not all of them look like the Gain Street facility, the one that we're referencing here. And she was being held at our Oceanside campus, which is different. She was stressed there. She wasn't really doing well. Overall, she was in our care for 238 days.
Wow.
And she needed a lot of work when she came in. We had to take out one of her eyes. She needed a lot of other work for us. And she wasn't doing well where she was. So we moved her down to the Gain Street shelter. She was able to relax in there. She was, again, families were able to see her for the amazing dog that she was. And that was a really incredible success story about taking an animal that wasn't having success in another environment. But collectively, she was a husky. We took in 1,100 huskies last year.
Oh, my goodness.
We just need more folks. We have purebred dogs. We have other amazing, incredible animals. You want a big animal, a small animal, an active animal, a lazy animal, long-haired, short-haired, dog, cat, pony. I was at our day looking at our pigs, and we have ducks and chickens and everything. So that's what shelters really need is more folks to really consider adoption first and hopefully we can continue to create more awareness around that issue.
I agree. I'm right there with you, Brian. Thank you so much. Yeah, really, really appreciate you joining us today. And like I said, I was so inspired and blown away by that video that I just had to talk to you all and include you in this list of the best things that rescues are doing right now.
Gotcha. Well, look, we appreciate it. We're trying to do our part, and you're certainly doing your part. And it does, in fact, take all of us to make this whole thing work. So thank you. Please let us know, right? We'll provide you with pictures, stories. We've got all sorts of other things that we can talk about. There's never a shortage of things going on in the animal welfare space. Stop by and see us sometime. I know you were out years ago with that golf tournament, so thanks for that as well. And hopefully we'll be able to, connect with you more in the future.
Sounds good. Yeah. Don't hold your breath. We'll be all over it. Thank you so much, Brian. Really appreciate your time.
Really, take care.
Take care. Our next organization is Paws for Life. They're a local rescue here in LA. They started a prison program in 2014. The training program partners rescue dogs with incarcerated individuals for mutual rehabilitation. They've sent over 1,400 dogs through the program so far. I am over the moon to be chatting with an actual legend in the animal welfare world. Her name is Rita Earl Blackwell. Her social media posts have gotten hundreds, if not thousands, of dogs in LA County shelters seen by rescues and potential adopters. She often plays with dogs she knows will be euthanized just so they receive some love and attention. The New York Times very appropriately called her a superstar. Rita, thanks for joining us.
Yes, hi. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Of course. I feel like even with all that, I undersold you a little bit.
No problem. No problem at all. Thank you. What a fabulous introduction.
Rita, just remind me what your specific role with Paws for Life is, or if you're just a volunteer.
So I work for Paws for Life, and I have been with them for about 7 years now. I am the director of shelter programs.
Understood.
So what that entails is basically I take care of the prison program. We have a prison training program here at the Lancaster State Prison. And we also have another program up north in the California Medical Facility, another prison up north.
Understood. Now, could you give us a brief overview of how that prison program works?
Okay, so we have a few different programs within the prison system.
Okay.
And the first one, the biggest one that's really helpful to the community is for dogs adopted from LA Animal Services, from LA City shelters. If their owners are struggling or need help with training, we check their eligibility, and those dogs can go into our prison program in Lancaster for 6 weeks of training for free.
Oh, that's incredible.
It is. So we're trying to keep dogs in their homes and out of the shelters.
Mm-hmm.
So less in the shelters, the less we have to see.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're an incarcerated individual that sees this as an opportunity, because what I heard about this prison program way back in the day, probably around a few years after it started, was that this is also setting up those individuals with a potential job down the road, and even, a skill set when they start to reacclimate to normal life.
Absolutely. So to even get into our prison program, you have to have a certain amount of great behavior. Our prison program at Lancaster is on a yard, which is considered an honor yard. So all of the men on that yard are doing really good in prison. So, and they have to go through an interview and be selected to be in the program. And we've had, I would say, about 150 incarcerated men have gotten out of prison before their time was up. They were paroled and came out of prison. And we have a 100% zero recidivism rate. So
oh my goodness.
Nobody from our program has gone back in. And also, so that leads to the People and Pet Innovation Center. So what happened is it started that the trainers started coming out of prison And Alex, our founder, who is pretty much genius, decided that in order, all of our guys are coming out, we have to do something to help them outside. And so she found the People and Pet Innovation Center. At the time, it was Best Friends, and she took over the backyards and redid all the backyards, made them big play yards, and decided, I'm going to hire our trainers to come work here, and they will train for the public, and we'll make it free for the public. So we now have free, if you don't want to send your dog away for 6 weeks, you can come to the center and schedule a one-on-one training session or group sessions on weekends. So there's this whole other area of free training that we have so that we can employ our formerly incarcerated trainers are now outside and training with us.
Oh, that's so incredible. Rita, why do you think this program works so well? Not only from the 100%, you said recidivism. Right. Not only from that perspective, but the dogs are getting very valuable training and are often able to, after that 6-week program, remain in the homes that initially had them enter the training program. Why do you think this works so well?
Well, I guess I would say there's such a commitment from the trainers on the inside, and the outpouring of genuine love and care for these dogs and concern for their well-being. And, there will be trainers who say, I need another 2 weeks. We need to keep this dog 2 more weeks. They're looking out for them once they come out. But also, it's helping both people and dogs. I often say, I don't know who benefits more from this program. Is it the guys or the dogs? Because together it's fabulous.
That's wonderful. Given the current, is kind of a switch in topic, but can you give a sense of the current vibe within the LA shelter system? I felt like I was in tune with it when we did that evacuation flight, and there was some really positive optimism because we were able to get a lot of dogs out of the shelter system. What is the current vibe?
Well, I would say the current vibe is that we're worried that it's filling back up again. The shelters seem to be filling back up again. And I'm hopeful that more and more spay and neuter is going to be accessible to anybody and everybody throughout LA, to try and start from that end. But I often say that we're at the shelters, in the shelters, we're killing ourselves, we're euthanizing dogs, we're all right here, and nobody's outside of the shelter worrying about what's going on there, that all of the dogs are ending up in the shelter. So with Paws for Life, what we're trying to do is get as much training out there.
Education.
For free. Because training in LA, oh my God, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So we're offering it for free for anybody. We're trying to get it as far and wide out into the communities so that people can take advantage of that before getting to the frustrating part of having to surrender their dogs.
Yeah. Keeping people with their pets is, that's the number one thing. They'll never end up in your videos. If the people who have them have the tools and the resources to keep that environment. Rita, anything else you'd like to share specifically about the prison program, or anything I didn't touch on? And then, I guess beyond that, I know that you're very well versed in all things animal welfare. If there's anything else you'd like to share, please do. But to start, anything else on the prison program?
Yes, I would like to talk about our service dog training program.
Oh, wow.
Within the prison system. So we started out with shelter dogs and training them for veterans with PTSD. And we would gift these dogs to the veterans who applied. We would match the dog with the veteran and train the dog depending on what the veteran needed a dog for. Did he need a dog to walk in front of him and alert if somebody was behind him? Do they need a dog to go into the house before they do and turn on all the lights so they could walk in? Do they need a dog to interrupt night terrors? So there were all these detailed things that these dogs were learning in the prison. And we would often take these service dogs home for the weekend. And I love this story. It's a fascinating story. There was a little cattle dog named Vera, and she was one of my favorites at the prison. And I took her home one weekend. I said, I'm going to do the public access for her. I'm going to take her out and let her live in a house and do some training with her. And I took her home, and my husband was at home. He was on the couch watching the game, and I came in with Vera, and she instantly went to my husband, who loves dogs, but who is also a firefighter. And she instantly changed with him. I was like, whoa, what's going on? She kind of climbed up into his lap and started doing these training things that she had learned in the prison.
Oh, wow.
When she noticed stress or anxiety. So here was this little dog pinning it, she saw it in this guy, and she went to work. So I called Alex, and I was like, oh my God, Vera just climbed in Wes's lap. She knows he's PTSD ridden. And Alex said, oh my God, we need to start a fire dog program. And that's where the fire dog program was born. So we now have we have 8 fire dogs in, I would say, 5 different firehouses throughout California.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We have a dog in Santa Barbara Fire, LA County Fire has a few. There's one up in Sacramento. A dog from East Valley is up in Sacramento. So we have these shelter dogs who are really just cuddle dogs. They have a whole different training than an actual service dog does. But the firefighters, the peer support teams, have these dogs, and they bring them to different, a wildfire, the village where everybody comes back from fighting. The dogs will be. They'll often bring them to firehouses where there's just been a horrible accident or a really bad fire. The dogs come and just go and sit with the firemen in that firehouse. So these shelter dogs are really helping people. It's pretty fascinating.
That's so wonderful. Rita, if I'm working at a shelter and I'm listening to this, or a rescue and I'm listening to this, the all of these solutions, and you mentioned Alex, it seems like it's just approaching things with an open mind and a creative mind for how we can solve some of the issues. But if I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, I want to do some of this stuff, what would your first recommendation be on, and again, if it's just open thinking, that's fine, but is there anything concrete that you would offer?
I mean, my advice is to get involved, to be a volunteer, get into the shelter and be a volunteer and see what the community in that area needs. See what you can get the dogs to be doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Rita, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, I love watching you on Instagram. I love all the dogs. And it's my favorite thing. But that's really it. I would just like to say, if you haven't been to the Paws for Life People and Pet Innovation Center in Mission Hills in the Valley, you should come by. Most of our dogs spend their days out in the play yard, having a blast, hoping that somebody comes and adopts them. But it's a really nice experience to come to a shelter where there isn't this sense of urgency and desperation and everything. So once a dog is adopted from Paws for Life, we fill that space with another dog from the shelter. So you're actually saving 2 lives.
Do you hear that? Everybody?
Yeah, you're saving 2
This
lives.
is a direct threat. Go visit Paws for Life. Thank you so much, Rita. Really appreciate your time. And again, the feeling is incredibly mutual. Love everything you're doing. Keep it up. I know it's tough, but you got so many people that are rooting for you, and hopefully this might jumpstart a few more people to directly help you out. We'll see.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, our next rescue that is going above and beyond for the pets in their care is Muttville. You may have heard of them. They are a senior dog rescue in San Francisco. They are not only California's first senior dog rescue, but they are the country's first cage-free shelter. They also have a wag cam every day from 12 to 4. So we're going to try to have that on the screen as I have the honor of talking to the founder of Muttville, Sherri Franklin. Sherri, how are you?
Oh, doing great. You know, the dogs are keeping me busy.
I believe you. I believe you. Because you're the founder, what inspired you to start Muttville in the first place?
Well, I'm always an animal lover and especially dog lover. And I was, here they go. I'm just going to, can you see them all running?
I can.
Yeah, okay.
How many dogs do you have with you right now?
This is at my house. I'm going to we're going to move so that you can hear me. You guys, I'm shutting this door. I know. Well, they're fun for a minute, but not for a super long time. So, sorry about it, but
no worries.
You know all about this kind of stuff. So, I was a volunteer at a couple of shelters, but really what started the whole thing was I was volunteering, and this was in the 90s. And it was like my first or second day at the shelter volunteering, and I was training. And one of the dogs I met was this dog that was a senior, was just brought in because the guardian had gone into a nursing care. So this dog was really happy. He was like a beagle basset dog, and he was really exuberant. And I was training to be a dog walking volunteer. And so I would come there, I would go every day, before work, after work, just to make sure that he got out of his kennel. And he slowly, over time, watching all these other dogs get adopted, and he started to not even want to get up and go for a walk. So it was just getting really sad. And then I came in one day and he wasn't there, and I got all excited that he had finally gotten adopted, and come to find out they euthanized him because his time was up. Like he wasn't getting adopted. So that was my first wake-up call. And I kind of joked around that I was gonna do something about it. There was no such thing as senior dog rescue. In fact, rescue was just in the baby years itself. There weren't very many. So a lot more animals were, being euthanized at that time. So it took me about 10 years to finally found Muttville. I did, in the meantime, do one at a time, and I just kept bringing dogs home to my house and then finding them home. So I was kind of doing my own thing, but it was such a huge problem. I decided to change my whole life, start a nonprofit, started out of my house, rescued 27 dogs that first year, and now we've rescued, we will hit 13,000 senior dogs this month.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we moved into our new facility. I don't call it a facility really, because it's so much different. It's like this place you want to live. It's 18,000 square feet. We have a full vet clinic that is just for Muttville. We have a full-time vet staff, veterinarian. We do surgeries. We take dogs that are over 7. We take dogs with health issues. We clean them up. We do everything we can, and we get them adopted.
That's so wonderful. Sherri, thank you for talking through that. That's really inspiring. And to come from such a heartbreaking scenario and then do something with that pain is remarkable. And you mentioned the new facility. I assume that's also when you got this cage-free accolade, if it was, or was that before?
Actually, our old place we rented from the San Francisco SPCA. It was their old administration offices.
Okay.
So we leased that. We were there for, gosh, well, 12 years, I think. We were there 12 years. That was also cage free. So we
Got it.
really started cage free back in 2011.
Wow.
About. So we had definitely worked out a lot of the kinks around being cage free, so that when we bought our property, our campus, when we bought that and designed it, we could design it with a much better flow. Like it was three empty warehouses. So
Yeah.
we put in the walls, we have an outdoor space now, we have a little park. And we have a piece of the rock. Nobody can mess with us, we're there to stay.
What inspired you to go cage free initially?
Well, because for 5 years we were at my house and I had volunteers coming and going and everything. I was still, I was a hairstylist, so I was still going to work, but I literally had like 5 volunteers a day come.
Oh, wow.
Into my house, and my neighbors loved it. They said it made the whole block seem safer and more engaged. So everybody loved that I had like yellow aprons on all my volunteers, and they walked around. So everybody knew that the Muttville dogs, and plus it was great advertisement for getting them adopted as well. So 1 second, I do have only you. Are you guys going to be quiet? They all came in. So when we got the space, I wanted it to really feel like my house, because when dogs go to a shelter or come from a shelter and go into another place with kennels, it doesn't promote anything positive. Socialization, training, it's loud, it's cold, it's scary. So I really wanted to create a very home-like environment, which we have. Even though we have more dogs, we have more furniture, we have more space. But even in the old space, we put like sofas with legs, so even if a dog lifted its leg, it wouldn't get the upholstery. Like, we learned a lot. Like, no, we're not going to have anything that's on the floor because it'll just ruin. So I truly believe that, we have separate rooms for dogs that are humpy or are more dog selective, and those rooms are actually offices of the staff. So those dogs are still in a room with somebody all day. So we do have that space, but the one thing we take old dogs and sick dogs, the one requirement really is that the dogs do not have aggression issues. Mm-hmm. And with the amount of requests we get, and it's sadly going up again in the nation, I'm sure you're highly aware, wherever you are, that there are more and more dogs getting surrendered or just being picked up as stray, almost as bad as it was in the 90s when I first started volunteering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's bad. Even in some place like San Francisco, when they're calling us and say, can you pick up these 3 dogs today? We literally have no space. Yeah. And usually San Francisco always has space. Mm-hmm. They have a new shelter too, but it's bad. I don't want it to go back to the way it was, where we're euthanizing dogs just for space. Yeah.
What were those initial challenges of being cage free? You alluded to a couple of them, but I'm curious because it's a unique setup. So there's got to be obvious reasons why shelters and rescues don't jump to it as a solution. So what were those challenges?
Well, number one is, which now we have the space to actually pre-check the dogs as far as their behaviors. And, it's so funny because we will get a dog that just doesn't like big dogs or just doesn't like small dogs, but likes everybody else. So we want to do an assessment, and now we have the space. In our old place, we did not. It was very tough. So having that, and to also assess their health, because if a dog comes in coughing and sneezing, has kennel cough, for instance, having senior dogs, you don't see parvo. You see
true.
kennel cough more than anything else. So we actually have kennels, specific kennels for ISO dogs. That's the only place you'll see a kennel in our space. But we also, I think those are the two biggest hurdles as far as cage free is making that. Though there were more. I mean, there's more. There's like, we had to have triple door stop. I mean, doors that shut before you get in to see the dog, because we could have, you can't just open a door and the dog would run out. So thinking about the gates that we in our new building that are built in now. Last time, before that we were, everything was, like duct tape and stuff. I mean, literally. But now, we've worked through so many of those initial challenges, and we learned. And I think that's why some of the organizations that have been coming by to visit us, we had a group from Pacific Grove down in Southern California, south of us, come just yesterday and do a tour. But we've had many other requests. We've got somebody flying up to spend a week with us. We're mentoring them in opening and building their shelter. So I think I'd like to say it's really the way to go. And if you could do half and half, I mean, if you're a municipal shelter, it's different than what we are. But I think the socialization and the immediacy of people walking in the door, they walk in the door and in through the gate, and they immediately sit on a sofa, and dogs are coming up to them and sitting on their lap. Dogs are getting adopted more quickly, even while other shelters are having a really hard time adopting out dogs. Our dogs, I think we had 6 adoptions yesterday.
Oh, that's so incredible.
And walk-ins.
And these are senior dogs who are not at the top of the list when your average person walks into a shelter. No. So that adoption rate, that's just incredible. What are the, you started to talk about it, but why does this setup work so well?
Well, it works well because when we were creating our new space, we took the human's point of view. There was the dogs being comfortable, and a human could walk in and smile the minute they walk in the door instead of cry, which I used to cry at the shelter,
Yeah.
But this is, you walk in the door, and I want to have a cam that just looks at people when they walk in the door, because they go, wow.
It looks like you're not far off of it based on the WAG cam that you guys have. I feel like that wouldn't be a difficult jump.
No, but I think people might not like being, you'd have to have them sign a waiver beforehand. But the things that we thought about were HVAC, because we didn't want to have a bad smell.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't, I know shelters. I've been in probably 100 of them at this point. The smell is overwhelming. So we have incredible HVAC, plus we have high ceilings, and it's open, very open. Yeah. And we have an outdoor space where dogs can go out and potty, but they still potty, and it doesn't matter. But I think that was one thing. The acoustics. We have acoustic floors. We have acoustic tiles in the ceiling everywhere. Even our front door is acoustically sound, so we don't, it's not coming out into the street.
Wow.
Not that we have, people go, it's so quiet in here. And really, unless we have like a bunch of beagles or, we are pretty quiet. And, you might happen to come when we have a few barking dogs, but for the most part, people go, I'm just so shocked that all these dogs are so quiet or so friendly, and look, they all get along. So we're giving people the opportunity to really touch their next pet. They get to touch their dog or a dog that they didn't know that was, but they end up adopting anyway. So I think that's why we are super successful in our adoptions, and we meet people where they are. We match make with them. We talk with them. We try and make it easy. We do transports to people if we can meet halfway. We learned a lot from COVID. We do Zoom calls or FaceTime to do the initial interview with a foster family, because we still have about 50 dogs at any given time in foster. So we are still very largely foster based, and we keep usually about 30 dogs at Muttville. So I guess that is why our adoptions, and we have a great, for the most part, I think people like working with us, and we have a guarantee that if a dog is not the right dog, anytime, you can email us, call us and say, I need to return him. This isn't the right time, or I'm sick, or whatever. That's our guarantee to every adopter. We just got an email this morning from somebody that adopted from another place near us, and they can't take the dog back that they adopted. They've called us to see if we will help and take this dog back, take this dog in as one of ours. So I think that's also really, I don't know, I think people are more apt to adopt, knowing that there's no judgment if things don't work out.
Yeah, that's very important. It's got to be so nice if you're interested in one of these dogs to, again, just see them in a very similar environment to what would be your home. Right. Yeah, we were talking with San Diego Humane earlier, who has those wonderful angled habitats where the dogs can't see any other dogs, and they're very calm, and there's less stressors, and that is, there's less barriers to see that dog on your couch, and I think there's even less with Muttville with the cage-free setting.
Especially because there are couches all over the place.
That's what
people just for the dog. Actually, there's dogs on the couches. There's people on the couches. We've, by the way, every piece of furniture that you see at Muttville on the webcam or anywhere was all donated by.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we literally didn't spend any money, not even on our desks that go up and down, and our desk chairs and everything. People were downsizing, after COVID. So we got everything. We have great furniture, expensive, great furniture that we have, some of them reupholstered in very like Naugahyde type of,
I was gonna say, like, the WAG cam doesn't do it justice here, but we'll be showing video of just how colorful it is in there.
It's very colorful.
I have to say that Sherri, I saw your team, a dog was asleep on a couch, and instead of asking the dog to get off the couch, they moved the entire couch to where they needed the dog. So yeah, it's certainly a welcoming environment, and it's just set up to be. So I really appreciate you talking to us about it. Sherri, is there anything else you wanted to share about Muttville?
I want to say I love you guys. I follow you. You are great.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And our dogs are, we have some very special dogs, as you've probably recognized.
Well, thank you so much, Sherri. Really appreciate your time and talking to us about Muttville. It's really inspiring, and hopefully this episode in general, but also what you've shared, could inspire others in the rescue industry to take advantage of some of these best practices and what you all are doing.
We have a lot of learned knowledge. So what works, what doesn't, things like that. I do want to mention that we have a really wonderful Seniors for Seniors program.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna make me cry.
42% of our adopters are seniors.
Oh.
And we have a special cuddle club for seniors that can't have dogs. And we have that twice a week where seniors come, and they've created like a community. They, a lot of them are very isolated, and they all know each other now. And then we go to memory care and senior centers as well with our dogs. So our dogs are just magical.
Oh, that's
all dogs are magical, but our dogs are specifically.
I gotta be transparent, Sherri. You're the last of 4 organizations I've talked to today, and it's just overwhelming the good that everybody's out there doing. People are doing their best, and thank you for sharing that. And I didn't know about the seniors for seniors or the the outreach that you all do. That's all incredible, and really appreciate you taking the time to share it.
We love doing that too. Love bringing in the community. Being part of the community, I think, is one of the secrets to more adoptions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Check out Muttville. If you're in the area or not, fly in to hang out with the dogs at Muttville. Thank you again, Sherri. And
you're so welcome.
I'm sure it will not be the last time that the We Rate Dogs audience hears about a Muttville project.
Well, we're here. We're here to stay at this point. So, thanks for having me, and I'll be listening.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. As a reminder, Sloane here is Adoptable from Angel City Pit Bulls. Adoption fee covered. She's an absolute blast. She's one of the highest energy pups we've had on the show, but also while she wasn't on camera, she was asleep on the couch back there. She's incredibly friendly, and we can't get enough of her. The link to adopt her will be everywhere. So if you'd like to open up your home to Sloane, go for it. I'd like to thank again all of the organizations that took time out of their day to speak with me. If you are aware of any rescue or shelter in your area that is going above and beyond, please leave a comment. We might consider a part 2. As always, like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, add us to your playlist. It helps us out a ton. Goes a long way. Really appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
Like a good dog. That's a good dog. Yeah, that looks like a good dog.